And on the phone with us this morning, we have Yakima County Commissioner Amanda McKinney. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, gentlemen. Again, happy
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah, happy
Thanks,
Thursday
Amanda.
to you. Well, tell us about your meeting yesterday that started out looking like that the county commission, the board, was going to recommend. Actually, was actually asking that mandate be dropped, and then something else happened, and then the controversy started. So, kind of bring us through the meeting, would you?
Well, how our statutes work is that the health board sets the policies for the health officer and the health staff to administer. And of course, one of the things we talked about last night was that there was a new statute that was signed into law on Monday, and it changed the makeup of the health board. And what's interesting about it is that it of course, it stemmed from, it was actually a bill that Inslee put together and gave over to a state legislator over in Spokane, and it was to essentially push elected people off your health board. So there's this obviously conversation going on in the community since COVID. Do we want to have elected officials who are making decisions, or do we want to have quote, public health officials making decisions? And the statute, as it's written in Washington State and all over America, is that final decisions are made by elected officials. Why? Because we are held accountable to the people. There's no recourse against an unelected. And truly, look what's happening with the CDC. And so what ends up happening is that there's this fight in our state legislature over the last couple of months. But what ends up happening, funny enough, is that even the Democrats who are county commissioners said, well, wait a second. Why are we here if not to legislate? That's our local legislative ability. That's why we're here. Why else are we here? And so what ended up happening is that the bill turned into something completely different. And it turned into something where we are going to have to reconstitute that health board. But interestingly enough, the health board will be made of the 3 county commissioners and 3 other folks who the commissioners appoint. Oh. That is actually that is the origin of what the health board had always been. So our health board had been, like health boards across the state, the county commissioner as the legislative authority for the area. And then you could, under the statute, expand the size and scope and makeup of the board, which our county commissioners had done several years ago, expanding it to have 2 other representatives that were elected from city municipalities and 2 members at large. But at this point, it will be just like all other boards. There will be appointments by the county commissioners. So it's just, it's an exercise in, I don't know. What's going to end up happening is that there will likely be, I can guarantee you, even more confusion because now the attorneys crawl out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
When does the statute take effect? And, what does Clause B, paragraph 40 say? And I will say that Mr. Elliott, who's the attorney for the health district, did say last night that in reading the new statute that he believes that there was just an ample number of contradictions within the bill itself. So it'll be very interesting. So that was one, topic that we talked about last night. Obviously, we have there's news that they said that they're going to start marketing to 12-year-olds because 12-year-olds are going to be eligible to receive the vaccine. And when they said that, and, I wasn't expecting that topic to come up. And so that's when I, kind of started the conversation going towards, well, wait a second. When you say we're going to be marketing, we don't market to children. It's an adult decision. So we're going to make sure that anything that comes out from the health district needs to be marketing towards the adult who's making the decision. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of dialogue going on about that. And whether or not that was appropriate. And I think Director Fresco brought up the fact that, the health district does a lot of education towards kids, letting them know that they shouldn't smoke or drink. And I said, touche. The distinct difference between that is smoking and drinking is indeed illegal for those folks. So, we don't see advertising for smoking or alcohol anymore. We haven't for decades because we found in a society that if they're not the ones able to make that decision, we shouldn't even be talking to them about it. That's an adult decision. So that was a topic that kind of came up that was off the radar. But then we got to the agenda item that I had placed on the agenda from 2 weeks ago, and that was discussing our local county mask mandate. And, the rubber meets the road when you're going to do a gut check and make a decision like that. And I will tell you that, we knew that I knew, and I think some other members knew, and it was brought up by the attorney, that if we removed our county mask mandate, there is still going to be a statewide mandate that is being enforced by state agencies. And I made it very clear last night, and I will do so again this morning. My push to end the county mask mandate meant that it was more of a show of, we're not subscribing to this. We don't believe in this. And so for anyone who's in Yakima County, we don't believe you need to wear a mask anymore. We're not recommend you wear a mask. Can you wear a mask? Absolutely. That is your right. You can continue to wear that till the cows come home. But the agencies that are enforcing the statewide mandate would still have the ability to do so. And the reason why that's important, and I brought it up, because we do not want to put our local businesses in jeopardy of losing their license and their ability to do business.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anyone walk into a business and get into a fight with a business owner who has been through so much and say it's my right not to wear a mask. It's their place of business. We're trying to push back. I wanted us to be a domino that fell in a good way to spark that across the state. The more agencies and who decide, this is we're not going to enforce this. There's too much of it going on. But if a business owner is scared to death of losing their license, we have to support them. We have to respect that. So I want to make that message loud and clear. I support absolutely dropping the mask. I don't think they're necessary. We have a vaccine that's available for those people who want it, readily available. But at this point, it is enforceable by the state, and I don't want to see our businesses suffer.
Well, then specifically, how would that apply in Yakima? I mean, so that you would have a choice not to wear a mask when you're in a park, or because, or
well, there are certain places that do not have those state agency enforcement, so they would be free to say we don't require it. There's also the ability, obviously, feeling that, okay, well, if my local governments tell me I don't have to, there could be places that decide I'm not going to enforce it. But there are, again, there's still going to be businesses who maybe, and I'm going to say restaurants specifically, we know that they have been under such heavy scrutiny, right? They just don't want to have another shutdown themselves and have their business be shut down. And I think that those are the ones that, because they've got both the health district locally and labor and industries and liquor control, which has been just a tiger towards them, threatening to revoke their liquor licenses indefinitely if they're caught. But it bolsters the idea that if people wanted to not enforce it, they'll say, listen, my county government says I don't need to, but they're still going to run the chance that the state agency is going to knock on their door. So that's something that they're going to have to decide. But we have to have a point where we push back on this. And is there going to be confusion for a while? Unfortunately, yeah. I will tell you that there are many people who are going inside businesses right now mask-free, and they're not being confronted about it. And that's great. We want to be able to have people start exercising that freedom. Actually, I believe just yesterday there was a poll that came out that nationally only 58% of Americans now are wearing a mask. And I can tell you what, probably 90% of the 58 are in Washington, where we seem to be the only ones who are locked down.
But
exactly. we just have to push back. And another really significant thing is, I know you guys know this, I read the data that comes out every day. I'm a numbers nut. And I needed to make sure that we got out in the public for general consumption the true state of things where we are with the vaccine, because I continued to cite, even yesterday, the CDC head went in front of Congress yesterday, and they acknowledged, and before I made my motion, I read the article. The CDC acknowledged yesterday that they need to update mask mandates. They need to recommend that we drop the mask. Their own professors from Harvard said that it is not something that we can require once the vaccine is readily available to every adult. That's their own quote. Well, guess what? In our community, we have that. And they stated yesterday to Congress that the reason why they haven't adjusted it yet is because they're making a national recommendation. And local authorities have to look at what their specific situation is. That's what we do here. We're local. And I was able to get the health department to share with the public last night how much vaccine we truly have available in this community. For every 100 people who are getting the vaccine every day, there's several hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of appointments that are going unfilled. We've ditched almost 700 vaccines so far from partners who voluntarily said that they've done it. But most significantly, we have a stockpile in Yakima County at the fairgrounds of over 20,000 vaccines.
Wow.
20,000 vaccines sitting on ice there. You cannot tell me it's not readily available. And that's why I did what I did last night. So what happened? The mission and the motion, it did not pass. Mayor Patricia Byers voted with me, and Dr. Dave Atterbury voted with me. But Dr. Cleary and Councilwoman from Toppenish, Nyla Duvall, and then Commissioners Anderson and Commissioner Lindy both voted against the motion. And what I will say is we went through the rest of the meeting, and at the end, Commissioner Lindy did make a motion that the health board recommends to our local health officer that he remove the mandate, and that did pass. But he'd already stated he wasn't going to do it. And so then we become in this circle where, okay, well, who has the authority over the health officer? And you can bet that that's something that I'll be bringing up.
So do you, I mean, there's open public meetings consideration, I suppose. How much conversation do you get to have with your fellow commissioners as you know, I mean, would you go into this thing not knowing that they wouldn't vote to drop the mask?
Yeah, but no conversation. The only conversations that we have commissioners are when we're in a meeting. It's very specific. So for all of our meetings every day are on a public calendar. We can't make any changes to the calendar less than 24 hours in advance. And, you know, we have to stick to the topic. And so the only time that we're going to have a conversation about it is if it's something where that is the topic of the meeting, and it is open to the public. In fact, you know, one of the things that I really pressed for when I was campaigning was making sure people understood that they have the ability to be there, which is why our agenda meetings have a Zoom link. And we have a study session that is the Friday preceding every Tuesday agenda meeting that we also have the Zoom link posted. So to make it even easier, you can sit there, and that is a meeting where we discuss everything that's coming up on the agenda.
So I'm trying to put this in its proper place. I don't want to make a bigger deal out of it. I know that the commissioners divide up areas of responsibility. It's a huge job. There's only 3 of you, and you all have your kind of who's on point for what type of projects, right? Is your position the point on dealing with the state government and COVID? Are you tasked with that?
No, that's my self additional mission that I have. The boards that we have are divided up. So most of my functions are in the law and justice area because that's my area of education and passion. And Commissioner Lindy focuses more on the homeless issue and solid waste. You know, he's down in Sunnyside, and so that's where the landfills are on his district. You know, so we're divided in that way. But as far as dealing with the state, no. And as I shared with you, the reason why I met with the governor is simply because I individually reached out proactively and said, I need to meet with you. So no, there's not. It's interesting because of the nature of the open public meeting and the way it works is that the commissioners board, we don't sit there in a room, you know, and decide, you know, together, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? We do have sessions where we meet to get a presentation or information update from someone within the county. Let's say it's a landfill wants to say, hey, we need to talk to you about something. We'll hop on there in a meeting with them and they'll give us an update. But all decision making, we can't discuss or make any decisions in a closed room, which is good. And so what ends up happening is that we receive the information, and then if there's any action that's going to be taken, it happens when we are in the agenda meeting where we are voting yay or nay, thumbs up or thumbs down on an agenda or a resolution item or an ordinance to get something to go through or we vote against. So it's very rare at this point, but you'll see there are going to be places and times where the commissioners are in disagreement, and obviously last night was one of them. And I will say this: the attorney came on for the health district and said, of course, well, you might put yourself in liability because you're making a recommendation that's contrary to what the state recommendation is. And to that, I responded, we're not saying people not follow the quote mandate. All we're doing is removing our local recommendation. That's it. But everyone has their different comfort level, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm willing to go there. I'm willing to go
all right,
there
but so
to be the one to make this call.
how do we I guess we don't coordinate that. I mean, I'd say you're reading the tea leaves pretty accurately for this area, but you've got two folks that I guess wanted to step out from that responsibility and put it on the health director from the medical side. My take would be like yours. We have medical experts to advise, and then we decide because, as you say,
Yep,
we're accountable.
Absolutely.
And so how do you regroup on this? If can you go back and talk one-on-one with Mr. Lindy or Ron? Can you I mean, how do we move forward on maybe aligning closer to what my understanding is what the public wants?
I can't, Dave, but the beauty of it is that you can. So the public has the ability to be engaged, right? They're your elected. So we're divided by district, but I can tell you that the only time that matters is when we're in an election. Where I answer the call and assist anyone in Yakima County. And they do similarly the same. And there will be times where someone might say, hey, you're not in my district, or I'm not in your district. And I said, that doesn't matter. I'm happy to help you. No, if it's something, the only thing we'll do is if someone has a question about something and it's regarding, say, a board or committee that I don't sit on, but one of the other commissioners does, then I'll say, listen, I'm more than happy to help you. I also want to make sure you know that this commissioner might have a little more information. I'm happy to connect you with them too and give them up to the clerk, and then the clerk can connect. So, we cannot, it's different than Congress. It's truly different. You can have your legislators go ahead and have meetings, and they caucus together, and they can discuss, and they can, draft resolutions and try to make things that are strategic, and that's just not how our commissioners board is designed by law to work. So if you feel a certain way, it's incumbent upon the public to let people know that are representing them.
Fair enough.
Were you surprised at their vote?
I was. I really was, because I felt that any perceived legal jeopardy wasn't there. Truly. I have conviction on that. We were not recommending anyone break a law. It's a mandate. And what we were doing is saying, hey, we're simply removing the layer. If you recall, our mask mandate preceded Jay Inslee's mask mandate. So I was recommending that we remove a county mandate that preceded a statewide mandate.
But you don't think that's going to happen? You don't think that the health officer is going to recommend that happen? Or actually that's going to take that action, right? He's already said he's not.
Well, I don't know about that, because one thing I can do is talk to him, and I will be speaking with him today and every day until the next 2 weeks. And we meet again in 2 weeks, so who knows what will happen.
Okay.
Here's the other thing. The CDC is going to come up with new information. Right. I highly encourage everyone who's listening to go. I actually, because of the flare, we knew that this was going to be a heavily attended meeting. We had hundreds of emails come in. And so I recommended to the health district that they actually take the meeting to Facebook Live. And the reason why is because most businesses have a Zoom program that only allows them so many people to sign in.
Right.
And so it's on Facebook. You can watch it. And I encourage you to do so. I read an article straight from quotes from the CDC article. You can Google it and look for it, but they are going to have to make a change. They know it. And here's another thing. It's because their own doctors are saying if we are purporting that the vaccines work, then we can't be requiring people or advising them that they need to continue to live as though they don't.
That's right.
And that's true fact.
Yep. Amanda, thanks for your time for us this morning. Keep fighting for the county, would you?